expand upon the density that we're looking for maintaining and creating in our bones without compressing our joints or putting all of the force into the muscles around it, right? Muscles and soft tissues around. Because, so for example, here are your bones. And the bones don't touch, right? So we think weight bearing, and then we think, but wait a minute, we don't want our bones to compress and touch, right? That's the fascial weave. The fascial weave keeps the forces flowing around without compressing into the joints. So what is this about? Well, that's part of what we're going to explore here today. And just remembering, so this is the image of your spine, perhaps. These would be the vertebral bodies, the bones. And these are the spaces or the discs. The space between is the disc. Of course, there's actually structure there. It's a disc, but it's pretty obvious that we don't want to compress to the degree that we smash discs. What we do want to do is we want to allow forces to flow from the peripheral body into these bones, because our vertebral bones do tend to thin, especially in the places that they don't get the forces. We want the forces to flow through the bone via all of the little connective struts that we have. And we want the forces to also flow without compression vertically. It's kind of a game, you know, it's really kind of a game, and you can get skillful at it. And that's what we are going to go for here today. So come on up to standing, and we'll start where we began. And if you remember, on my Substack page, which I hope you will go to, especially if it's, even if it's just the bone density that you're interested in, there are pictures there, right, that you can follow for your practice. And once you get the hang of it, you'll be able to just move through the postures quite easily. And it, you know, it can be a half an hour practice, it could be an hour practice. You can add and take away from it, but I do recommend it for you and me and all of us. So let's go. Let's do it. Coming into your Tadasana here. And as usual, we can't do just one thing. We're not just going to go boom, boom, boom. But let's work with these fascial dividers here that we do so often in our swings, right? So we want to free the verticality of our torso, which can, you know, get confused. And we're beginning by freeing the fascial wrappings. And the first one, where you have your knees basically facing straight forward and the weight is even on the two legs, and you percuss with your hand right here in the low belly. And the percuss goes, as you get sensitive, it goes right through you, right? And that's just vibrating things in there, getting them to undo whatever grip they've decided to have. All right, and then let that go. And of course, Iqbal, and everybody for that matter, but especially Iqbal, you're not moving through your spine here. You're moving through the core. So it's the empty slinky that we're rolling around. All right, next one You go weight to one side. Now play with this, please. How's the weight flowing here? Can you feel the transfer of density, the earth, water, fire in the pelvic bone, through the thigh bone, through the tibia specifically, into the ankle and the foot? Can you feel it? Now listen to me. Don't grip the muscles to feel it. Let the muscles release. Come back over it. Realize that yielding down into the earth does not mean condensing all over everything. Yielding down. Now pay attention. Is it true for you that as you play with this, you're not actually compressing a joint? How in the world can that be? You're not. Look for it. If you feel you are, it's because you're collapsing into it. This is a collapse, and this is a yield, push, pose. You're not compressing because the soft tissues are going around, and then around the joint, and then slide here. The soft tissues that sculpt out the space of the joint are your ligaments. They relate to bone. They're not contracting like your muscle. They're relating to the bone, and they're keeping this sleek, long place. My thighs are working. I feel that, but I'm not compressing and doing anything. I'm just yielding that directional pulse. All right. And then we're going back into the fascia of the torso. As you come over to the side, you go down, you feel that. And then swing to that side that you are placing your weight down. The leg bones are a little bit easier at first to get the weight flowing through because we chronically separate energetically our hips from our legs. And we don't want to do that. That's the prana flow that you've learned with me for years now. The earth, water, fire, the earthy bone, the marrow, integrates through the joint. Marrow is making your bone. It's making bone tissue, and it's providing vitality to the whole body. Big, big deal. All right, let it resolve. And as you come to center, feel again that you take these bones and you can give them your weight into the earth while the ligaments and the space that's created there in the joint doesn't compress. It's not a compress. That would be collapse. Don't collapse. The weight flows and you receive. Now this time we're going to turn toward the side that we are not weighting. And in this one, we're rolling again around the center, but you're going to feel the thoracic, the ribs on each side doing their little sculpting circle. Now remember last week, if you were here, if you weren't, it certainly doesn't matter. Remember though, that your ribs are, you keep going, I'm going to show, your ribs are going diagonally in and up to your spine, not flat, but they arc in and up and take your spine, your vertebral column, headward and into the body. Waking it up, right? We've got the fascia here between, from the diaphragm right up around the heart, the wrappings of your lungs, the sliding of your heart and lungs in the thoracic region. And then, okay, there's this little Percuss, is it getting all the way around your bones and into the vertebral column? Maybe your head and your neck will start to rise just a little bit as you follow that force in and up. And then stand again. And I stepped a little wider, doesn't matter. You can bring it back. All right. And then jaw, jaw. The fingers and the hands come behind the base of the skull here. I'm holding the occiput in the back with my outer ball just below the wrist, interlacing hands, and I've got just a little bit of a lift in there. See where my thumbs are? Not back here. Don't put them back there. Doesn't work as well. Take them right down the sides of your neck and give a little upward pulse there. And then not a swing, but a turn. Right at the center again, and it's your head, the top chest, and your neck. A turn, pause. Spin right around. So now up in your neck, you're once again right in the center of the slinky. Hopefully you were there the whole time. The center of the slinky. And you're going just a little bit away from, weighting down and turning toward the leg that you are not placing weight on. Now listen. You feel that little upward pressure on the occiput, right? A little bit. Rest your brain down into that. Mouth will need to be soft. Brain is encased in skull. Skull is the bone. The weight of the bone dropping down through the vertebral bodies and skimming via ligament around the discs, squishy discs, firm bone, and come up and stand. Tadasana, and just play with this, the weight. The pulsing of the vertebral bodies through the center. All the way through the neck, all the way under the tongue, completely soft, wide in the jaw joints, and then the occiput, which is not just back, it also is in the front of the vertebral column. Back there, front and back. Brain rest, you'll feel this in your forehead and the top of your nose. Brain rest. Ribs, 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 coming around the back body and forward and upward in pulsing force into the bodies to rise, weight descending down through the vertebral bodies and the pulsing of the directionality. So gravity is not the only player in bone density. All right, let's call it bone health, bone resilience and vitality, right? We do now know that you can have a certain amount of bone loss without ever breaking any bones because of the resilience. So we want the whole thing. All right, so it'll be Vrksasana, tree posture. Always going back to basics. As as you have noticed being in my classes, my interest is all basic now. It's way, way inside. I couldn't care less about the bigness of the postures. I'm really interested in what's happening here. So as I'm doing this with my hands, I'm in the consciousness of my pelvic bones. I ask you to do these things with me because they're so powerful. And I've got that little pulsing and releasing of the muscles inside of the pelvic bones and on the outside. Feet pulsing into the earth. Hands on the tops of the pelvic bones, yield, bend knees, and then pulse all the way down through the bones, 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 bones. Don't compress the joint. You don't need to. It doesn't work that way. And then push and straight. The receiving back up. Go all the way through the ribs. And then we're going down. You can go down through your left and bring your right up. Okay, everything changes tremendously. We're looking at it from this bony situation. I'm taking my hand down because I want to be able to stay with this inquiry. So maybe there is value to getting the leg up a little higher, right? You can do it down here, but you can take it up a little higher too, and you can feel it into the thigh, which pulses into the foot, and the downward flow of their pulsing together and the receiving back up. The ribs, the ribs, the ribs. And then if you like, you inhale and reach upward. Or keep your hand on the chair perfectly fine. You stay there, I'll come a little bit forward so that you can see the action in my chest, maybe. So it's not just arms up, but I'm taking those forces through the trajectory, the arc of my ribs, headward. It's a pulsing, right? Life force is going. Happy, happy, we're in there with the marrow. All right, and then as you're ready, from an inhale, and then an exhale, as you're coming down, what's going on in the bones, especially the upper arms? They're bearing a lot of weight. Can you bear that weight into the ribs and in and up into the spine? To elevate the head, take your leg down. So obviously this practice is taking a little while, because you're doing it with me, and I want to, give what I can about it, and then find the practice on the Substack page, pattytownsend.substack.com, and you'll have the pictures, and you can do it yourself. In case any of you want to know, you've worked with this before, I took a bunch of these posture shapes from Lauren Fishman, who is really good at this stuff, good at bone density teaching in yoga postures. But this is additional, right? How we do it is different here, but the postures are the same. Okay, and then you go down and you come up. And then you go down some more. Maybe you bring it up a little higher this time and you pulse them. Now, what I just found out by keeping my arms down here is if there is any difficulty, you don't even want to just keep one hand on the chair. You can put that, see how I have my forearm there? And I'm pulsing inward with you stay there, with my ribs by a little bit of a touching into the arm on the one side, the arm of the chair. The weight, I'm looking for weight. Now the force in the thoracic is not going down. Your ribs rise. That's the direction of the bone. Keep another full couple of breaths here. Either way you do your arms, you could even do one side, one, and the other, right? You feel the difference here. Whenever you've got earth involved, you can bring more density into your movement. You feel that? I'm pulsing with the arm in and up. There goes the rising. Couple more breaths. Beautiful. And as you're ready, exhale and take it down. Feel what you're doing as you do it. There's the pulse. It's not a collapse release. I know it takes a lot of attention. That's yoga. You're paying attention. And then the leg comes down. And then there's from the earth in and up into the pelvic bones. From the pelvic bones down and into the earth. The polarity of movement, from the ribs in and up to the skull. Shoulders and arms, fingers resting, like floating. Okay, easy. Trikonasana. Again, of course, you can use the chair for this because I've shown it. I show it a lot with the chair, very often, and you can do it also with your leg, hand on the leg. You can use a block, but don't go too far. Hinging at the hip will not help your hip density or the lower spine, any of it. You want to keep the earth connectivity. And let's take it out. So I'm going out with one. You can jump. Jumping is good for your bones, assuming you're not compressing. And then down. Preparation, how you enter something, how you enter a posture is everything about what it's going to become. And then exhale down again. And as you're inhaling, pushing into the earth with both, reach around, out and up, and feel the forces. And then any way you like the arms, I'll come down so I can show you. You're going to go down through this side and up over here and spin. And then perhaps you want to turn the back foot in more. You see I have a narrow stance. Do it the way you like. And then spin the back. My legs are going different directions. Okay, so I've got to differentiate the front pelvic bone with the leg. I feel the density. I have to differentiate the back pelvic bone with the leg. Articulating at the pubic disc, which is light, bringing the hands into Anjali. Exhale, gaze, don't gaze. Exhale, down. And as you're inhaling to open, give your thoracic spine a little hug forward in the body. And then as you're exhaling, come up, around, and over. You see how far I've gone? It would be enough. Or you can go further, and I'm playing with weight. Touch. Touch your leg or the chair. Bring your fingers around to the sternum here. And as you spin open from the sternum around the top ribs, let them go in and up through the spine. Upward gaze becomes natural from the forces. not where do I place my head, where do I look, but around and up. Bottom arm, also key. You maybe can't do it all at once. It's okay. You choose, oh, what do I want to work with today? Oh, that's good down there. Or the levity and the space through the top, coccyx, woo, 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 all free down there, excited about life, and then push into the earth, push into the earth as you're inhaling. Come up, spinning, spinning, spinning. I'll do this side without, just with my leg, hand on my leg, and then I'm spinning. So if you like, you could spin the back leg forward first, since you're already spinning. Or you can come around and take the front as we did before, and then go down, 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 push up through. All that weight, it's coming all the way through my spine from the earth, this whole side up through the spine, and then spinning the back. There, they're really different. I got to push down and inhale, come up. Pelvic bones are each their own thing, you know. They're unified at the pubis, double joint on one side, joint on the other, and then they're stabilizing into the sacrum, taking the sacrum in and up, in and up. Inhale again, and as you're exhaling, spinning. So maybe it works to spin the underside ribs forward toward the sternum first. Maybe. And then the upside ribs from the sternum into the thoracic spine. And then the arm comes up. And then maybe you take the lower side thoracic ribs into the spine and up, right? Now you have the whole thing being drawn, the whole spine into the body and headward. The weight of arms going right in through the pulsing of the forces into the vertebral column. The pulsing of the forces of the legs into their pelvic bones, into the sacrum, drawing it forward in the body and upward. And in exploring this boniness of our bodies, we're creating a real mind of stability and strength, not muscular strength, energetic resilience that is strong. All right, and then pushing into the earth, feel the forces, go down with the two, feel the forces come in and up, the pubic disc recedes, right? You don't want to push through the front, and then heel toe together and stand again. All right, Parshva Konasana, which is the extended right angle. This can be done on the chair, which I believe I demonstrate on Substack. We're going to do it without the chair, or if you like, take the chair. It's the extended right angle. So you're coming here and you're finding your stuff, your relationality. A lot of people have finally now said that, you know, yoga is relational. It's not about you. It's about relationship. All right. And then you see, I don't take my legs very wide pretty much ever, because it's just better for me. You find your stance. And then again, we're going to spin the right leg out, spin the left leg in, a little wider than I was, and come around. Exhaling on Jali Mudra. So if you have any issues in that front leg, don't worry, you don't have to keep it parallel with the long edges of your mat. If that's hurting you, bring it so that it's more diagonal, so your toes are facing up toward the front corner of your mat, right? And then inhale, open. You're playing with what we got. Now, as you're exhaling this time, you're coming out and over, and you're bending this front leg a lot. It's just like Trikonasana at this point. And then you go deeper, keeping the leg bent, using this lower arm to pulse into the earth, forces, and then the top arm up and over, and reaching, and descending, reaching, upper, whole ribs, whole arm, right into it, pressing with the lower to roll around the lower thoracic bones, the ribs, upper thoracic opening to the back, rolling, arm, breathing, the deep churn of an ujjayi breath goes right to marrow. And then push down, push down, push down. Inhale, and you come up. And yes, marrow strengthens your bones. Yes. And bring your hands here. And turning, playing with it as you go. Feel what you're doing as you do it. How far does this leg want to go for you? I'm not going to turn it all the way out like I did, like I used to. It's just a little better for me. And here we go. Exhale, down. Pause. You feel your feet on the earth. You feel the forces are going down through and back up. You feel that the muscles are, yes, they're rippling on the bones. As you're inhaling, arms come out. As you're ready, you're exhaling and again turning, but now you're actually deepening the bend of the front leg, coming over it. Wow, there's a lot of weight there now. How can I also feel the forces and their differentiation here in the upper part of the bones here, the upper side body? And then with an inhale, and an exhale, can you support your arm up there by going to the ribs? What does that give you? Right? They're connected by muscle. The arm is actually very, very free up there, but the muscular connection. So when you pulse the muscles, and then you use the density of earth to turn. And then when this chest is rolled open all the way, then you turn the top arm so that the small finger faces down, but don't let it bring your torso down. Keep the small finger facing down and turn. Parshva Konasana. And push down, inhale and rise up. Exhale, no hurry, take your time. Be sure you keep the flow. And then inhale and come up, heel toe together. Or if you like and you feel confident with it, you can jump together. Standing. All right, twisting triangle. So again, going to the chair or a block. So this time we're going to bring, quite a big spin through the vertebral column, and we still need the same kind of deep supports here through the legs, into the pelvic bones, up through the vertebral column, using the ribs to take the spine in and up, the base of the skull. Avoid looking upward. Let the base of the skull rise up in the back just a bit. And remember, it's a cup in there. It's a cup. It's not just the back. It's a cup, and your spine is coming through the center of the occiput. If you're not clear on that, just look it up one of these days, because it's not lift, 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 and chin down. It's the whole occiput that goes right around the spine. All right, twisting triangle. You're going to step back and leave your right foot forward. Here we go. As you're exhaling, your hands coming into Anjali Mudra. And let's take this little yielding down that we so often do with even a little bit of a bow. Gratitude, first of all, for this tremendously strong and healthy body. If you're watching this video, you're strong and healthy, right? And then bring your hands down to the chair, but don't flex, don't push your thoracic spine up. Bring your hands down to the chair and keep the ribs coming in and up toward thoracic spine. Skull, soft mouth. Yield down through the right, curl your left up. Where's all the weight? Shoot the leg back. Flatten the back foot. Toes go down. You spin the heel toward the floor. Recede the pubic disc right up in the center of you. Bring the torso central line just to face right over the inner front leg. Take an inhale. As you're exhaling, bring your right hand to your thigh and your left hand to the chair on the inside, so not across your body, but right on the inside of the front foot. Exhale deeply. Go down, 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 down the legs. Inhale. Spin through not through the spine. Spin through the slinky core. And then take the ribs in, and upward to turn the body. Much more challenging twist than Trikonasana, which has a little bit of a twist too. Spinning, 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 spinning. And if you like, arm can come up this much. And if you like, you got to get the thoracic spine into the body and up, which will bring your head up and back. And then you can bring the arm up. Ujjayi breathing. Thick bone, rich deep bone. And the slidey glidey of the fascia that wraps around the bones, keeping the spaces in the joints. The fascia of the joint connecting onto the outside of the bone, the periosteum, continuous down to the next joint. A sinewy, spacious support. Inhale. As you're exhaling, arm comes down. Spinning. Remember how I always say push through the head? Right? Push through the head. If you're down here, you're not doing anything in your spine. Push through the head and stab. Wave out. Thoracic spine in and up. No hinging in the hips. Exhale, pour down. Weight through the pelvis. Down. Inhale, rising. And exhaling, Anjali Mudra. Touch of the hands, thoracic spine, touch of the hands, pulsing. Your fingers relate to your ribs. Pulse them in and up. And here we go again. Inhale, maybe open, and then exhale, hands to Anjali, and bring yourself through the yielding, not just to the gravity, but to the space, to what there is to be grateful for. All right, and then take your hands down, touch into the chair and the thoracic bones, the ribs into the spine and up with an inhale. And when you're ready, it's an exhale to step your right foot back. Feel the touch back there. Don't get isolated. You're going into the earth, spinning the heels, spinning the toe, widening the whole foot on the floor as you straighten the front leg with the pubic disc rising, suspending you upward. And left hand to thigh, right hand to chair, play with it, yield and push. Remember the thoracic spine. This is really important here, not this. Thoracic spine. As you push through the downside arm, let the thoracic spine be brought into the body by the trajectory of the ribs. Left arm maybe comes up. You can keep it down if you like. Your fingers are on your sternum to begin. As you turn, both side ribs taking spine into the body and up. And whenever you like, arm comes up. Ujjayi, dark, rich, whole body flow. Good, and exhale, bring it down, bring it around. All the way, spin the back foot. Please be sure it gets to your head. Step forward, wave out, inhale. And exhale, take a bit of a standing forward bend here. And don't let your head go crazy down because you don't want to push up through the thoracic, right? So you want to keep that length and simultaneously maintain the connection here between your pelvic bones and your leg bones. Stay there. Keep breathing. All right. And then when you're ready to come up, just come on up, sweep the ischials forward, go down, 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 down. Inhale, big reach. As you reach up, elongate. So both arms are up. Bring your feet together now. So you're in a narrow Tadasana. Firm the arms in toward the shoulder blade, the shoulder girdle, in other words, and then use the muscles to pulse the ribs around in and up into the vertebral column, taking them vertebrae forward in the body. Open your arms to come out and down, and as you do, keep the arms connected into this central structure. The marrow bone stays connected, the ribs into the vertebral column and up. Good, and rest. All right, we're going to take a seated twist. So I'm going to say to come down onto the ground. But of course, if you're better off in a chair, you can do this in a chair. In fact, you can do it like this in a chair. You can do this anytime. It's a good thing to remember, right? So you sit on the front edge of your chair and you'll turn one way. I'm going to sit back further. The chair's not the greatest height for me. So if you sit back further and you need to get contact with the chair and the earth, you take some blocks or something under you, or alternately build the chair up higher if that's right. And then you'll come around and it'll be this twist. Okay, so that's the chair version. And now we're going to come down, those of you who would like, come down to the ground and seated in a dandasana, just a simple seated position. If you have a strap around, grab your strap now. All right. So you can be seated here in Dandasana. Of course, you can have something under your hips. And the point is to have the ischials and the thigh bones, they melt down. They've got that aha of earth. The ischial tuberosities, the sitting bones, there's an ah to it as you release them directionally down. Not squeeze, push, releasing directionally down. Releasing the leg thigh bones directionally down. All right, now take the strap, place it on your feet. If you need to bend the knees to make this comfortable, just go ahead and do so. Wrap the strap around your hands and then pulse your legs forward into the strap directionally. From the pelvic bones right through the leg bones, all the way to the feet. Use the arms. Now, here's another very, very important question, but you learn things pieces at a time, right? Can you stay soft, even a sense of radiant emptiness in the core as you do this? So it's layers of you. It's the koshas, you know, it's the earth, water, fire we're looking at in the bone. And then it's the fire and the air and the space in the rising. The fire goes both ways. It warms what's down there and burns what's there, and it warms the air and the air rises. And there's this little tug, feet to the ischials, halves, to the pelvic half bones there. Sometimes you want to hold for a while in a posture, you know, in order to feel, well, what is actually happening? Okay, and then we're going to take the twist. So you can bend one of your legs and draw the foot into you. Again, it's okay to bring it all the way in. And it's okay to have it about halfway, and it's okay to have it out here. And if you're doing this on the chair, you're just not even bending the front leg any more than the other. Wrap the outside. So I have my left leg up, and I'm wrapping my right arm around to hold the leg. I'm already deep into the inquiry of the bone, the flow and the density, and the maintenance of the space, and the space in the vertebral column that is supported by the bone, keeping the trajectory of the rising there. And simple, Marichyasana 3 here. And just stay. So I don't know about you, but one of the things that Marichyasana 3 can give to me kind of nicely is a little bit of compressing through the sternum and the cartilage here, not to flex it in at all, because the ribs come in and take the thoracic spine headward, but to pulse through the bone, like as if you're going to touch in through the bone yourself, you are, and into the marrow. Oh, and there are joints there. I feel the little xiphoid process down there. I feel the musculature of the thoracic diaphragm spinning, and I'm still primarily with the bone inquiry. All right, and then you can bring it around. There's no hurry. If you hurry, you'll do something. You'll collapse or you'll harden. One of the things you commonly do. And then the leg goes out. And the other side. So I'll show this twisting away from you. So you bring your leg up, your chosen place. Again, you can be on blankets or you're just seated on the chair, and take your left arm around and hold the outside of that right leg somewhere. Be sure that you're still up on the ischial tuberosities, but you're not jutting them back behind you. You're right up on them, and they're relating both into the earth and the leg, and then the spine, the pelvic connection up and into the sacrum as you turn when you're ready with an exhale, and you pulse the back arm to spin the back ribs, not just spin, but into the spine vertically up. Occiput, not just the back occiput, don't crank your chin down, the front and the back, so the cup of the occiput. Front arm, lots of work going on here. Lots of work, not just gentle. I mean, you could be gentle, but I want you now to be finding, how do you make those forces really flow? Your marrow creates cells, and so does the periosteum, outside of the bone, that will break down bone in order to reform it. These are called the osteoclasts. They clean up, right? They get in there and they clean up. And the osteoblasts, some are on the surface and some are in the marrow. The osteoblasts build the new bone cells. You need them both. There's no creation without destruction. Shiva, you know, the creator and the destroyer. Couple more breaths. And then as you're inhaling, come around again. And exhale, extend. Feel free to stabilize at the center after a big twist like that. Take your strap right out to the toe balls and firm. Pelvic bones to the feet. The arches of your feet match the arch inside of your pelvic bone. So there's this pulse right in there. The pelvic bone pulses the sacrum in and up, and it comes all the way up through you. Nice, light, rising spine. Okay, your next posture is a forearm plank. All right, so that's kind of an obvious for weight bearing. And what may not be obvious is that you really don't want to do this rounding kind of thing. I mean, just look at that. How are my ribs supporting into my vertebral column up there? They're not. They're sliding away. I want them to go into it, right? Into it. And then, of course, the usual thing, the musculature, back abdominal wall, all of that. But we're going to look primarily at the forces from the forearm to the legs back up to the head. Okay, so coming down and clasping your hands, make sure that your elbows are not too wide. This is a disaster. Don't do this. Do place your elbows right under your shoulders. And then as you like, you're going to step a leg back and find your distance. See how my shoulders are a little behind my elbows, because I want the forces not to just flow up to my shoulder, but to go right through me. My shoulders are going to be a little behind elbows, and then one leg is straight and the other leg is straight. Do not push the thoracic region upward. Do take the thoracic spine into the body and up via the trajectory of the ribs. Look at the floor under you. Push through the bones of your arms. Yield and push through the bones of your forearms right back to the pelvic bones. Right from the pelvic bones through your legs. Right from your feet back up through the thoracic spine to your head. Then do them both. Forearms down through the pelvic bones and the feet to the head. You could go back and forth a little and or just stay in one position. So we know it's a core strengthening posture. We often do it that way. And now we see what's going on in the vertebral column and the pelvis if we do it. All right, you're going to come down and melt onto the floor. So your knees come down. Just take your elbows wide, not wide. Open your hands and lengthen your spine down. Keep your forearms up by your body and rest your head to the side. If you need to, you can take a hand under the opposite side to which your head is turning. It's up to you. Breathing. All right, let's come into a Sphinx. Same stuff happening. As you're inhaling, come from the underside of you. Lift up from the underside tissues along the spine. It's your deep back abdominal wall. And then slip your forearms under you and into Sphinx. Careful, don't let anything hang. Finding it all. And if you like, you can even turn the toes under back there and pose. Don't let anything hang or you'll miss a part of your spine. You want to be going through it into lengthening and through it into pushing backward and pushing forward. Your pubis may be well off the floor. The knees will be on. And to come down, lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Rest with your forearms up by your torso here and rest your head to the side. And resting is yielding. Resting is really resting so that you're, And Shalabhasana. Bring your forehead to the floor. Take your arms back behind you, palms facing your torso. This is not about getting very high, but it is about finding the weight through the full length of your spine. From the front, lift up from the front. Inhale, you come up, don't get high. Just a little. Roll the top front chest open by taking the ribs into the body and up in the back. And here we go. As you're exhaling, come all the way down. And this time, rest with your arms up by your sides as well, and the forehead down to one side. Good, head comes up, take it to the other side. And then coming up, you can either take a full cobra here, or we're just going to come back into child's posture, so you can use all those underneath supports to lift up, lift up, lift up, and then arms, 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 your strength, your strength, your strength. And then everybody coming back into child's posture with enough support so that you're not overly flexing the thoracic spine. All right, come on up. We will be on our backs next, so you're going to want to have a strap and a block. Down onto the forearms here to lower, have your block where you can reach it. Forearms to lower, there's my sacrum. Stay awake in there. And then pushing forearms footward to lengthen vertebral column. So I'm beginning to look now, oh, where are all those spaces? I'm lengthening through the space of the discs and through the sliding, gliding of the ligaments of my spine that support the space in the joints, right? And have your head just about where you think you want it. Bring your palms up next to you. Place your feet approximately underneath your knees. Yield and push down with the feet. And as you're inhaling from the downward push, hover the pelvis up. Scoop the movement into the upper back and scoot your shoulder blade on one side under, shoulder blade on the other side under. Cervical spine has plenty of space off the floor. And then pulsing, pulse your upper arms earthward. You could clasp them under you. I'm just going to leave them like so, palms up. I'm pulsing the upper arms into the earth, allowing front chest to expand a bit as the ribs move the spine in and up. I'm pulsing the feet up through my leg bones, pelvic bones, lower spine, all the way up through, pulsing my skull, soft jaw. Pulsing is very light, you know that. Soft jaw. Even the sternum, ever so slight. Keep breathing. Good. And as you're ready to come down, re-lengthen. So I'm just going to let my hips go past toward my feet here. My knees will go past and rolling the top spine to the floor, all the way down and through. Sacrum and rest. Rest. Okay, Supta Padangustasana, supine leg stretching, we call it. Obviously, it's so much more than that. So take your strap and place it around your right foot. I'm using the strap for sure on this, not just holding my foot. Place it around the foot, and as you straighten the leg, push into it slightly. Okay, push into the straight to straighten the leg, and then wrap your hands around and draw the leg back down into the hip as you, once again, play with straightening it, pulsing through the toe ball, following the forces all the way through to the pelvic bone. You can keep going if you like into the spine, or you can just go pelvic bone back up to the foot. Inhale, as you're exhaling, left leg extends. That's a really different from the up leg. You feel that the weight of your arms is dropping you down here with the top foot. Take the strap into one hand and bring the opposite hand to the opposite side pelvic bone. Keep that bone heavy and relating to its extended leg. Begin to bring your right leg out and upward. And as you do, remember, this is not out here somewhere, and it's not about thinking about your flexibility right now. It's about making the connection through from the foot into this pelvic bone, into that side of the spine, pulsing. And how do you keep the differentiation of the sides? Well, they're different. You're yielding the left leg bones down, and you're drawing the right leg bones into yourself, and then turn your gaze leftward, spinning. You'll feel it. All right, and then with an inhale, leg comes up, strap off, exhale, curl up and reach your fingers toward the floor, out there, toward your extended leg foot on the ground, and slowly bring the leg down. Supporting up here in the skull best you can. If you need a little touch to do it, do. Once you touch, you melt completely. And then the legs are drawn back in, and your feet touch. The opposite leg, your left leg goes up, and you strap the foot, and you create the relationality here. The foot, whatever aspect of the foot you want, right up into the pelvis. You can play with the differences. Right up into the pelvis. Little pulsing force into that left pelvic half here. And then the inquiry, it's very important that you're not jamming into any of these joints. And the way that you keep that is by maintaining the space, listen to me, and the directionality of the soft tissue. So that's the fascia and the periosteum. It's the joint capsule here, the ligaments of the joints, everything that goes directional will keep that little space in there. It's a practice. All right. And then now, as you're ready, keeping the play you have up here in the top, inhale, don't compress in the joint, very, very important. Keep that little space, pulse the foot away from you, up foot, and then exhale, extend the right leg out. Right leg and pelvic bone are the same structure. Embryologically, they're the same. They differentiate very late. They're your lower limbs. Pelvic bone and leg, unified in their prana, differentiated as they grew. All right, take the strap and Place it on your left hand. Bring the right hand into the bone that you can feel there on the right side pelvis. Take that leg bone. Can you release it down without gripping in the muscle? Release the leg bone down and feel the directional flow of the soft tissues, ligament, tendon, fascia, muscle, and then keeping the pelvic bone and leg heavy, begin to open the left leg out, drawing its force as it gets heavy. You draw its force into the left pelvic bone. Saying, oh, hello in there. You're doing stuff, right? You're alive. You're not forgotten. There you go. Yep, we're all in this together. This is leg and pelvic bone relating. The gaze comes over spine, jaw, occiput. Nice, and then bring it up. Inhale. Let go your strap. As you're exhaling, curl up. And take your time. What's bearing the weight? Plenty of options. Plenty of options. Using the muscle and soft tissue and ligament of the cervical spine here to curl. Soft and wait for it. Take your time. It's a long journey down, right? You get to feel more the slower you go. And then the melt. Resting. We'll rest now. We'll rest here in Shavasana. Allow your eyes to close. Of course, you may want more props. Go ahead. If you can rest here in Shavasana without props, do it. And feel your bones. Feel how the bones of your body can take gravity right through them and melt you. Melt them. They're so multi-layered, right? They're not cold, hard, dry. Your bones are amazing, like organs inside, functioning, creating, moving, building. Allow them to feel gravity so that they too can completely rest in Shavasana.